you actually have to want to change, to do things that are particularly challenging. There's rarely a moment in your life where things become easy and that um, it becomes like a fluid process. And almost everything, and I was sort of thinking about the Reciprocity Project as well in the last while. Um, Almost everything in everybody's life is very much a you have to want to actually make a change, and it's not necessarily a change that it's not just like I want to make a change, but you have to like have a burning desire to change. It's got to be like a hell yeah, I'm actually going to make this change. I'm actually going to do this particular thing, and it's going to be everything in all of my life to focus on this particular change in my life. Um, and until you get to that moment, right? Like you kind of have that, yeah, I want to do this in the back of my mind, or I am interested in this particular thing. Until you get to that moment, very few things are actually going to change in your life. And then the other thing that's important is to recognize that you actually do need to make a change. They need you need to make a positive difference in your mind. For most of us, it's hard to see that we actually have something that's going on that needs to make a change. And it's until you actually are aware of it that you pay attention to it and you actually make changes with that. And until that actually happens, most people sort of go about of not recognizing anything, that there's anything that's particularly wrong or that could be better, and you just kind of float along. And you think of the rest of the world as like, hey, this is really strange that they're doing that, but I'm just going to keep doing this particular thing. And I was also thinking about the Reciprocity Project, right? So it's not only at the individual level, but it's often at the systematic level. My frustration often is that um, that there, that we could do things better um, in the sort of research game, in the academic game, if we collectively work together. I'm building this platform. Obviously, it doesn't have to be my platform, but if we collectively work together towards something to solve some of the key issues that we have, um, and if you actually wanted to change it, you would actually address it, right? So the the sort of crazy rates of depression and anxiety, like in the sense of that they are particularly high, right? Like the numbers are at least double the rate in the arena of being a PhD student as the general population. Um, you know that that a lot of pay, for example, is lower than it should be for PhD students. That there is these systematic problems that we know, and for us to actually change it, we actually have to agree that we actually want to change it. And frankly, I'm at a point where I think a lot of people just don't believe that they need the change, that it's very much a sort of, I did this, so why can't everybody else do this kind of attitude, right? And so it's stuck in your mind that there doesn't need to be a change. There's no issues that are going on. Um, a lot of different things like that, that you just think that this is okay. Um, and I think about this a lot as, all of these frictions that we actually have. How do you actually change it, and what do you actually do? So, from my perspective, as somebody that's building this platform, um, you have to acknowledge that, frankly, a lot of people are just not going to acknowledge, and they're not going to want the change. But if you actually do it where it solves a problem so quickly and so importantly that people don't even recognize that's happening, that it just sort of gravitates towards this thing, Um, that then I think that's the only way that you can actually make a significant change, right? Like actually expecting people to do something that that is big in their lives, to sort of engage in something where they say, "Hey, I'm actually going to make a change." I don't think that's ever going to happen collectively. I think for individuals themselves, that is a very difficult, tall ask, right? I think about like therapy, for example. Um, a lot of therapy just does not work on anybody because people are just not willing to make that change in their lives, where they're like, okay, I'm actually going to do this thing. I'm going to make a positive change in my life. Um, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to go to therapy and actually get it done. But that's not what happens, right? Like people go to therapy thinking that this thing is going to be fixed quickly, and then they get frustrated when it doesn't get fixed quickly because it's a struggle. Or they go to therapy begrudgingly, which I think most people do, and then nothing ever gets done because they think that there's nothing wrong, that they're not the problem in the situation. Um, and then you have to take a step back and say, hey, this is not going to change very easily. Um, so we simply have to just acknowledge that that is occurring. Um, or we simply just have to acknowledge that people just, you know, it's not that they don't want to, I don't think. I mean, I think want is kind of a strong word. Um, it's maybe that they don't need to, they don't recognize that they have a problem that's going on in their life. They have this sort of view that everybody else has the issues, all these kind of things, and you don't recognize that there's something that's going on. That's why I tell you, for everybody that's listening, um, that this channel is a lot about really a lot of introspection, a lot about what can we actually do about things. And the truth is very few people are going to listen to this, because they're not wanting to make that particular change in their life, right? So all of the people that are worried about you know um, are there going to be people that I know that are going to listen to it? Yeah, the people that actually want to make a positive change. Um, but almost everybody is not going to, right? Where they're going to be like, this doesn't matter to me and all that kind of stuff. Because, all the people that I think about that I worry about, they're never going to listen to this because it's a reflection that they don't think that they, need to make changes and stuff in their life, right? They already think that it's all right, and I want you to sort of think about that. You know, a lot of folks in your life and everybody's life. I'm not saying like it's just me. I'm saying that everybody goes through this. Um, Unless you're ready, you're not going to make any sort of positive changes in your life, and that's okay. That's on their thing. But if you want to make a significant positive change in your life or get large collective action of some sort, you have to acknowledge that people are just not going to transition to something else that is pushes them in some sort of way because that is challenging. Um, and I encourage you to look at ways that you can change regardless and do positive changes in your life regardless of what other people are thinking and what they're doing, because it's your personal thing that you need to work on. It's not nobody else's. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.